Hi, I'm Alex,
And I'm Mateus.
and welcome to our WorkWell English Deep Dive series, episode 2, where we're going to go over our next video in the series. This is from our workwellenglish.com professional English course, which is a self study course intended for professionals that are part of an international team or work with clients abroad. It's full of great videos, self study content in terms of interactive quizzes, workplace scenarios where you get to see this new vocabulary and new content used in real workplace scenarios. Here's a look at our second video. Mateos, would you like to set up this video?
Absolutely. So today we're going to take a look at our video on the past perfect tense. So our first episode was on the present perfect. And this one, we're continuing our look into perfect. It is part of our advanced fundamentals section of the course because while it is advanced grammar, it is fundamental to any workplace situation or scenario, right? The perfect tenses are used in every single aspect of the English speaking workplace. So just like the first video, we are going to watch the episode, the video that we have here that is available on our course. And then afterwards, Alex and I will take a deep dive into the tense, into the video, give you some more pointers and some more specific um, cases, situations, and just our comments around the past perfect tense. So I will go ahead and start the video, and we will see. We'll talk after it's over. Here we go.
Hello, welcome back. The topic of this lesson is the past perfect tense. In the previous lessons, we learned the grammatical meaning of perfect as well as how to structure and properly use the present perfect tense. We also analyzed the differences between the present perfect and the past simple tenses. Let's figure out what to do with the past perfect by applying the rules that we learned in the previous lessons. We know that perfect means before and that present perfect means before the present. With this logic, we can naturally conclude that past perfect means before the past, or more accurately, before another action in the past. We also learned that all perfect tenses use the auxiliary verb have along with the past participle form of the main verb. If the present perfect uses the auxiliary verb have in its present form, have and has, we can naturally conclude that the past perfect uses the verb in its past form, which is had. Okay, so past perfect means before the past. But how do we use it? Well, before the past means that the action happened before another action in the past simple. Let's take a look at a timeline of actions to see what is happening. Both of these actions occurred yesterday. At 10 a.m., I rehearsed giving the presentation. At 2 p.m., I gave the presentation. Therefore, I had rehearsed before I gave the presentation. Notice that in this sentence, I use the word before, and this clearly indicates which action happened first. But since past perfect means before the past, we don't always need to use the word before. Let's take a look at another example without using the preposition before. At 10 a.m., I sent the invoice to the client. At 11 a.m., my boss asked me to send the invoice to the client. Therefore, my boss asked me to send the invoice to the client, but I told her that I had already sent it. We can also show cause and effect relationship between two actions in the past more clearly when using the past perfect. For example, a client sent an angry email on Friday because he had received a faulty part. It's very clear that the client received the faulty part before he sent the email. We can also give more context to a past simple action by using the past perfect. For example, if I say the files were misplaced, it can sound a little vague. I could be more specific if I say the files that the CEO had requested were misplaced. So, In all of these examples, we can see that both actions occurred in the past and that the past perfect action happened before the action in the past simple. Remember, using past perfect always needs to be in relation to another action in the past to give it context. This has been our look at past perfect. In the next video, we're going to take a quick break from perfect and take a look at how to use the continuous tenses. I'll see you there.
All right.
Okay, great. Nice
That was the
breakdown
past
of
perfect.
past perfect. Yes. I think the video does a really good job of explaining the past perfect, how really simple it is to use and when to use it. A few things that I want to talk about here is the first, I think that the past perfect is the most common tense that advanced learners learn and then never use again.
Right. And what do they do instead?
They use past simple and then past simple and then past simple and then past simple. And that's problematic for two reasons, I think. I think the first reason is that just using past simple and past simple for sequences in the past is confusing, often. Because if I said, for example, if I said, hey, the meeting didn't go well because I didn't speak to John, I might be confused. Is that I didn't speak to John before the meeting, during the meeting, after the meeting? But if I use past perfect, and I say, hey, the meeting didn't go well because I hadn't spoken to John, well, that sequence is much more clear. Now, the cause and effect, as you said in the video, is much more clear.
Very true. Yeah.
I think the second problem with students just using, or English speakers just using the past simple all the time in the past, is that it sounds very simplistic. It just sounds like they don't speak English very well. As soon as I hear someone using that past perfect, I mean, what do you think? As soon as you hear someone using the past perfect,
I feel like, as a student, they definitely have a good grasp of the English language. Using the past perfect in speaking, right, or in any communication, present perfect as well, right? Using the perfect tenses rather than just the simple tenses, past simple,
yeah,
really indicates of a good grasp of the English language, and for professional English, more importantly.
that's right. As soon as I hear someone using that past perfect, I think, okay, nice. They understand grammar well. They're a professional speaker immediately. Great. I want to go back to something that you said at the end of the video, which is that you said that past perfect needs context to be used. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Of course. So when we think about past perfect, right, we say it is perfect means before, right? We're gonna point that out over and over again. Perfect means before. Past perfect means before the past. So we need the past simple or past time to be the anchor point to fixate this before, right? Because otherwise, without context, we're kind of just drifting, right, aimlessly. We don't know before what, before when, right? So past perfect uses the past simple as an anchor point. The present perfect uses the present as an anchor point, right? Before now, today, before now, this week, before now, in our lifetime. So we always have this anchor point, right, to fixate the perfect tense. So present perfect uses the present as an anchor point, and past perfect uses the past, right? Past. So that's why it's before the past. We need that, right? That anchor to give it context, right?
That makes sense. So, for example, it would be confusing if I said, hey, Mateos, had you eaten breakfast? Because you're going before what? What are you asking?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if I said, hey,
Pretty good.
Mateos, how was your meeting? And you say, hey, not
Well,
great.
I was a little grumpy because I hadn't eaten breakfast.
Oh, okay. You hadn't eaten breakfast. Okay, now I get it. Before your meeting. So we always need that context in the past to then use the past perfect. Great. Okay. Thanks for that explanation there. Great. I think the past perfect is a really pretty simple structure. It's really easy to use. It's had for everybody. I had, you had, they had, she had, we had, it had, everybody had. And then the past participle. So it's hard to make a mistake there. So I really encourage students to use it, to really internalize this structure, to really practice using it, which you can do on our course, workwellenglish.com, where we have a lot of content, interactive quizzes, workplace scenarios to show and to practice when to use the past perfect and make someone really confident and comfortable using it.
Exactly. And we really want to stress that the perfect tenses, present perfect and past perfect, are fundamental. They are building blocks because they will come up again and again in using, and we're going to use them to build upon, right, for more complex grammar that we will cover in our series later on, such as the conditional tenses, such as the reported speech, right? It's really important to really have a good grasp of the present perfect and the past perfect to then really build and better and level up your professional English. So you can find all this information and practice on our course at workwellenglish.com.
All right. Thank you, Mateus.
Thank you, Alex. I'll see you next time.
All right. See you next one.